bet you can feel the tension. The divide grows, classic or nouveau, Greek revival or brutalist, truth or relativism. From the beginning, truth has battled the next generation of thinkers, thought leaders, and designers. Every next gen innately seeking to make its own mark on the world. And like high school seniors, leave behind a token of their moment in time. Few of these big thoughts last, and if lucky, some find their way into history, becoming ageless humor, like mullets, blow-up chairs, and Furbies. The exuberance of youth. If you're within proximity of Silicon Valley, you've witnessed the newest fads, vacuity, and restless souls come and go as fast as time on the allegorical beach of M. Night Shyamalan's movie Old, where time is accelerated and whole lifespans are compressed into a couple days. I just read an article in Forbes that referred to benchmarking as large company conservatism, paralysis by analysis, and most hated by young, fast-moving startup CEOs and institutional VCs. Okay, best practices emerged through time because they led to successful outcomes. Value is created for the market, and they were rewarded by the market. Best practices mitigate risk. It's also an opportunity to articulate an idea's strengths and address areas for improvement. Today's guest understands the value of design and its need to solve the problems of time. John Thatch is senior principal with the DAHLIN Group. Now an international firm, DAHLIN began in the San Francisco Bay Area, East Bay to be precise, in 1976, with a number of notable projects with which I am greatly familiar. Round Hill, Blackhawk, Bering. John, it is great to have you on the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really appreciative of being here and being able to talk to you about things, and look forward to your questions and proceeding with our conversation.
Well, John, I just learned that you were employee number one at DAHLIN. That's amazing. What do we need to know about you? What else? And the DAHLIN Group?
Well, I think the big thing about me is, again, I became an architect because I guess wanting to make the world a better place, and didn't know what architecture was really about until really I joined DAHLIN in 1976. And it was an interesting period. I didn't expect it was just Doug I was joining when I came up north from San Luis Obispo, but it's been a great journey. I've been really able to carve my own journey, with Doug, as far as what we do as architects and what we do as planners, about really creating communities and creating housing for people and all the other items that go along with community design that we've been a part of as our firm has grown to this day.
DAHLIN is committed to sustainability, and you ascribe to the LEED standard. Some studies show mixed results on LEED and realized energy efficiency. What's the design secret in ensuring that LEED features reduce energy use?
I think the thing is follow-up. How are they working? A lot of things we're talking about are new. So I think we do a lot of follow-up with clients. How are they working? Or with homeowners, commercial clients, how it's working. And it's also to be out there a little bit on the forefront. We're talking with consultants and our clients about what's new out there, what's possibility, what we can do. So I think part of it is evaluation of the past, but also evaluation of what's possible in the future, because it's a big item as far as what we're going to do as far as energy as our needs continue to grow, our population grows. So it's something just to take a look at, reevaluate, and also look to the future at the same time.
Sounds like benchmarking.
I think it's a little bit of that as far as just looking at things and being aware of things. I think being an architect or being a designer, a big thing is just being aware of your environment, not just what you do from a day-to-day basis, what other people are doing, not only, like I said, regionally, but nationally. But you mentioned we're an international firm. Well, I think you talk about benchmarking. I think it is. I think it's knowing what the base is and knowing, evaluating what's been done before. But it's also, again, looking out there, what's new, what's regionally, nationally. And like I said, a big thing for our firm, like you mentioned earlier, that we do international work. And that's really opened a lot of doors for us about looking at things, evaluating things. And I think as designers, I think we're always, looking out there as far as what's new, what's possible. But also a big part of that is evaluation, at the beginning and then afterwards.
Are you aware of any developments underway to make LEED more predictive of real world results?
I'm not say specific ones, but I think most are. I think most of our developer clients are looking after the fact, because part of it is, LEEDs does cost money, looking at different avenues, what it does, and they want to have evaluation of what they're doing. And also, again, their projects, how they're talking to people about it. They want to be able to say this has a benefit for you. What we're doing has a benefit. So I think most developers are looking at that. It's a cost, and we also how we want to market it. We need to say prove it and look at it. So most of our clients who are working with us are looking at that as far as whether it's an individual custom home or whether it's a new community.
You're active in NAHB. They promote the National Green Building Standard as a lead alternative, at least for residential. Do you ever certify buildings in NGBS?
Yes, we do a lot of that with our clients. A lot of our clients prefer that. It's not as cumbersome. A big thing about LEED is all the certification you have to do, the cost just to get certified, where the other program, the NAHB program, is more, say, practical for builders. Builders have a lot on their plate to build these houses, getting entitlements, then building them, finance. There's a lot on a plate for a development to get built.
Tiny houses are proffered to answer the high cost of housing. DAHLIN recently won a design competition for a tiny house project in Salt Lake City called Mod Hive. Mm-hmm. Was this built, and what are the challenges in entitling tiny houses?
It's not built yet. It was just an open competition. We picked a site that was next to the transit site. We picked our own site in Salt Lake City about where to do this, and we thought would be appropriate, near transit, looking at economic levels that the residents would have. That'd be good to have public transit close to them. As far as what we're doing elsewhere, we're doing a lot of tiny homes, and they've been in conjunction with some church. We have First Presbyterian Church in the Bay Area, in Castro Valley to be specific. Pastor Jake, who's been great, he's looking at working with other churches at parking lots and developing tiny homes in those areas, and really working, which I think is great, with parking lots for religious organizations that can also give services for the people in the tiny homes, really get people back on their feet. And it's been very rewarding. It has had challenges because it is something different as far as you're trying to do something mobile, but it's still fixed with bathrooms and kitchens. But we're getting through that with a lot of communities. And the more we do, I think the easier it'll be elsewhere we do. But we're also looking at whole communities with Pastor Jake, which I can't talk about yet, but about how we can do whole communities like what you see, like Mod, and what we can do in the future.
That's exciting. I want to hear more about that. Hopefully we can have you back.
Well, thank you. I think it's a great avenue. It's something that's very, again, like I said, how we make this place a better world. How do we house people? And there's a lot of people who really need some help, and really a helping hand as far as get them really started and help in their futures.
So, do we have more tiny houses in our future, or is this just a moment in time?
Yes, I think there's definitely a future for tiny homes. How it goes, our population continues to grow. We're running out of land in certain areas, where people want to live. And how do we provide, it's a little bit of a kickstart for people as far as housing. And I think it also, long-term, I think it has some possibilities for long-term housing for maybe singles and things that can be converted as, like sort of a new apartment type life as far as something you want to have and how people want to live.
I understand that you also have a special interest in senior housing, John. That is a broad field. How are senior living designs changing, particularly post-COVID?
I think they're changing and trying to make them more healthier. A lot of things we're looking at, how does a home work, for, say, people who still have homes, how does it, entryway areas that maybe can be a little cleaner, that's transition areas getting into the house, how we maybe look at bathrooms a little differently. Also, I think a big thing is getting more engaged is universal design, how people can age in place. I'm sort of going through that with my dad. He's been living in a 2-story house, and at 92, he finally moved downstairs, not upstairs, and how it's been interesting for me to go through that with him of making his house, work for him now. Now he just turned 94 this week, how that can work for him. So I personally have involvement. I know people want to live in their houses, and then maybe how we design new homes, or how do we do retrofits, how we make that, a long-term, they can, live in the house, and I should say, how they can live in the house and make it, very fruitful for them.
Well, happy birthday to Mr. Thatch.
Yes. And I think the other thing is, again, just looking at different types of housing, whether, how we, affordable senior, there's a lot of people out there. We're doing a lot of work that's on the affordable side, and we're also doing the high end and sort of the middle, but how I think universal design and how we create houses that are, going to be very rewarding for people, as they get older.
We have a long way to go on the senior housing.
Yes, there's again, like the affordable side, there's a lot of needs, on all types of age brackets.
Great show, John. You learn something new every day. Thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you. I'm very appreciative of allowing me to participate. So thanks.
Time will tell. That's a hard fact. Design and economies and trends remain in the internal battle for relevance and value. And this may be one of the most fascinating times of all. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the show. My editor-in-chief, Michael Rudy, and I are in the process of writing a book on the pillars of the industry. Those builders, developers, and operators who, through time, have made a genuine and valuable mark on the industry and multifamily housing. The working title, most appropriately, is Grit. Makes sense to me. If you know of someone and we're looking for those with a serious track record, the battle-born, please reach out as we work to capture the successes and the lessons and the strategies that have made our nation's multi-housing great. Until then, see you on our next episode of NAHB Power Hitters.